going on, everyone? Mike Kadlick here, back on Patriots Press Pass here once again for our picks of the week, week 17. As you may notice, I'm here alone this time. No Tayler Kyles. It's a solo edition of our week 17 picks and games to watch across the NFL, powered by FanDuel. Go to FanDuel.com/Boston. Obviously, you get $150 in bonus bets when you place that first winning $5 money line bet. We're going to take a little bit of a different approach here since it is a solo edition. Instead of doing our normal 6 games, we'll rattle through basically everyone. Just missed, obviously, Jets-Browns, but we'll get through every single game of the week. Quick talking points, we'll give a pick on the spread, and then we will give a pick on the total. And then we'll go from there. If you want to read more in-depth on anything, any games of the week, I have my Games of the Week column on CLNSmedia.com already up with odds powered by FanDuel Sportsbook. So you can go over there and check that out if you want some more in-game analysis. But what we're going to do, as we always do, is start off with the Patriots at the Bills. Patriots, 14-point underdogs on the road against Buffalo. 40.5 points is the total. We've been watching this. I've been watching this down there basically all week, everything unfold, at least with the Patriots. They got 2 of their safeties back, defensive backs, Jalen Mills and Jabril Peppers, come back, at least on the practice field today. Today is Friday. They come back, so it looks like they're going to get some help back in the secondary down there in Foxboro when they go and take on Buffalo. The Bills, they've won 3 straight after a 6-6 start. They now have themselves firmly in the AFC playoff picture. They're playing for something, unlike the Patriots, really. I mean, they're playing for pride here, but they're not playing for any seeding. So that's why I like the Bills to win this game, but I do think the Patriots keep it close. So I will be taking the Pats on the spread, plus 14. Over under 40.5. I still like the under. I don't see the Patriots scoring a ton of points. Another tough test against this Buffalo defense for Bailey Zappi and company. He's going to have his hands filled with his offensive line in front of him that's banged up versus a Bills front that has been dominant all season long. 3rd in the NFL with 50 sacks. So I like the Patriots plus the points, but I like the Bills to win, and I'm going to go under 40.5. We're going to move right along for what really looks like the game of the week here, Dolphins at Ravens. Both of these teams find themselves in games of the week every week because they're both pretty dang good. I mean, fighting for the top seed in the AFC. Ravens are at the top right now. Miami currently 2nd. Ravens are at home this weekend, so according to FanDuel, the total is 46.5, and Ravens favored by 3.5. Excuse me. So obviously Lamar Jackson is the odds-on MVP candidate now at FanDuel. But the Dolphins come in having won a couple straight. I think they've won I want to say 3 of 4 or 4 of 5. So they're rolling just like the Ravens are, who have won 9 of 10 themselves. So 2 heavyweights fighting for that AFC's 1 seed. So I think it's going to be tight. I think it's going to be a field goal game either way, which is why in this one I also like the dog in the Dolphins. And I like the over 46.5 too. I think they're going to score a ton of points. Both offenses are pretty lethal. So I'm going to take the over. Let's go to Falcons at Bears. 37.5 is the total. The Bears are home favorites at minus 2.5. I think this is officially the first time this week I'm going to take the favorite. I'm going to take the Bears to win by 3. I don't like where Atlanta's at. They've gone back and forth. They've sort of boomeranged with quarterbacks there with Taylor Heineke and Desmond Ridder. Heineke under center again. Arthur Smith has 3 first-round talents on offense in Drake May, Kyle Pitts, and Bijan Robinson, yet he still seems to not really be able to get the job done offensively with that team, no matter who is a quarterback. So talking about not playing for much, I mean, they're not playing for much. And then the Bears, they in theory could sort of quote unquote tank and get themselves, in the top 5, but they already have likely the number 1 pick from Carolina. So they're not worried about seeding. Justin Fields is worried about making himself the quarterback of the future in Chicago. So I think they're going to win that one. I think they're going to win that one going away. I like their offense this week against Atlanta. So I'm going to take Bears minus 2.5. And we'll go over 37.5. That is just a too low total for me. Before we continue on, let's listen to and take a quick word from our sponsors over at FanDuel Sportsbook.
Score early this NFL season with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 money bet. That's $150 if your team wins. If you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, there's no better time to get in on the action, NFL. The app is so easy to use. There's a wide range of betting options, including you got spreads, you get your player props, you got over-unders, and more. So visit FanDuel.com/Boston and kick off the NFL season. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL.
That's FanDuel. Go to FanDuel.com/Boston. Like I said, get get $150 in bonus bets when you place that winning $5 money line bet. So moving on, games of the week. Like I said, if you're just jumping in, we're doing all of them this time because it's just myself. Taylor's not here. Not as much back and forth. So we're going to go quick picks. Bang, bang, boom. Take a side, take a total. Let's get out of here. So let's look at Titans-Texans, AFC South matchup. Texans 4.5, home favorites. Titans obviously getting plus the points. 43.5 is the total. Sounds like from all accounts down in Houston, their all-star rookie quarterback CJ Stroud will be back this week after dealing with a concussion. Case Keenum obviously comes in last week and wins the game for them, but they're going to go with their rookie if he's healthy because he's played dominant football all season long. And the Titans, I keep coming back to this whole not playing for anything, and it sounds like I'm just sort of repeating myself, which I am, but it really kind of, plays in at this juncture of the season. You talk about 2 weeks left, playoff seeding, don't want to get hurt, don't want to screw yourself out of a contract. Some players think of that differently and they want to play for the contract, but it goes both ways. It can divide some locker rooms a bit and sort of what direction you're going in. Titans aren't playing for anything. Houston Texans are. Simple as that. Texans -4.5. The total goes under 43.5. Let's talk about the Raiders and the Colts now. Raiders going to the Colts. Shane Steichen, before last weekend, was the odds-on favorite to win the Coach of the Year for what he's done in Indy. Gardner Minshew comes in for their first-round pick. Anthony Richardson at quarterback takes over that job and has the Colts offense rolling. They're winning a couple games. They were in the playoff picture. They lose last week. Browns win last week. Sort of flips the script, and now Kevin Stefanski, who won on Thursday night, is the odds-on favorite. But that's not to take anything away from Shane Steichen, who has the Colts in prime position again to still get into the playoff mix here. Against the Raiders, +3.5 dogs. Like I said, according to FanDuel, Raiders 3.5-point dogs. They beat the Chiefs last week. They're playing. They're rolling. Talking about a team who's playing for something. They're playing for everything for head coach Antonio Pierce. So as much as Indy still needs to get in, I like the Raiders here. I think they're coming in flying high. Jack Jones, former Patriot, kind of balling for them. 2 pick sixes, 2 back-to-back weeks. They're fighting for their coach. Raiders +3.5. We'll go under 42.5 in that one. I feel like that one could get tighter from the defenses playing there. So let's go to Rams-Giants. Rams-Giants, Matthew Stafford's Rams heading to New York to take on now Tyrod Taylor's New York Giants. After all the chicken parm sandwiches and, meat lovers specials, if you will, for Danny DeVito's family, he gets benched last week for Tyrod Taylor. So the swan song that was the Tommy DeVito era in New York is now over. It's done. Rams at Giants. Rams are 5.5-point favorites on the road. Matthew Stafford, I mentioned him before, has them hooping all of a sudden. They're well entrenched in the NFC playoff picture. If they get in, they're a scary team. You don't want to face off against those guys. I look at the pedigree they have and guys like Matthew Stafford and Cooper Kupp and Aaron Donald and Sean McVay. Those are all Super Bowl champions. Those are guys who are all winners. So I wouldn't want to take on that team in the Rams in the playoffs. They're fighting for seeding. I like the Rams -5.5. The total is 43.5. I like Tyrod to sort of, give them a jolt on offense with what he can do with Dayball's system. So I'm going to take the over 43.5, and I like the Rams -5.5. They win by 10 plus in this one. They really need it. So I like the Rams here. Moving on, let's rattle off a few more before we get out of here. Let's go with the Niners at Commanders. It's a Shanahan Bowl because that's where the Shanahans used to coach in Washington. They're heading on the road to take on the Commanders. 14-point favorites, 2 touchdown favorites is San Francisco after losing last week to Baltimore. A high total in this one, 49.5. Jacoby Brissett comes up lame at Washington practice. Looks like Sam Howell could get the start for them after he's dealing with, I believe it was called a hamstring injury. So I think I like Washington with the points here. I know that Brock Purdy's probably going to rebound. I know that they're probably he's going to tee it up for him. Shanahan's going to tee up the offense for Purdy like he used to, and they'll probably get out to a lead, and it's going to be easier for him to score points. But I still like Washington +14. I think that's a ton of points in this one for a team that sort of just is kind of – I don't want to call it Washington fighting because they're not fighting. They've lost 3 or 4 straight now, made a quarterback change, but I still think 14 points is way too many points in the NFL, so I'm going to take Washington +14. And the under 49.5, that is way too dang high. All right, let's see what we got here before we get out of here. We're going to go backwards this time. Sunday Night Football, Packers at Vikings. Vikings minus 1.5 point favorites at home. The total is 43.5. Jordan loves Packers. They looked so good. They were so hot. They beat the Chiefs. He was rolling. He was cooking. He was throwing the ball all over the yard. And then all of a sudden, they've sort of fallen off. They lose to the Lions they beat the Lions on Thanksgiving, and then I believe they've lost every game since then. Vikings, though, starting rookie quarterback Jaron Hall under center, the BYU product, after they went from Kirk Cousins to Josh Dobbs to Nick Mullins. Now they're on to Jaron Hall. They're still scratching and clawing at the playoff picture, but it's not looking good for them, which is why I'm taking the Packers on the road. It's tough to get a quarterback in there and get him to know your system. So I'm taking the Packers plus 1.5. We're going to listen to our friends at SeatGeek here. And then when we come back, no more storylines, no more BSing. Let's just go right into it. Game, who's playing where, what's the spread, what's the total, and what's the pick, and then we'll get you out of here. So thanks for listening, and here's a word from our sponsors over at SeatGeek.
You know, I've been looking for the best deal on Celtics tickets, and with over 28 million downloads, SeatGeek is the #1 rated ticketing app. There are more than 70,000 events every single day on SeatGeek, including concerts, sports festivals, and more. With the NFL, NBA, and NHL seasons in full swing, you don't want to miss out. SeatGeek has your tickets to every game. Plus, artists like Travis Scott are on tour. They put all the tickets across the web in one place to make sure you're getting a good deal. Each ticket is rated on a scale of 1 to 10, so look for the green dots. Green means good and red means bad. Every ticket is backed by their buyer guarantee, and SeatGeek is the only site that lets you return your tickets ahead of the event with swaps. So as you know, I always come through for you guys. You can use my code DREAMERSPRO for $20 off tickets at SeatGeek. That's $20 off your first purchase with promo code DREAMERSPRO. Make sure you check the link in the description to download the app.
All right, you heard it there. Dreamers Pro is the code for SeatGeek. Go and check out everything. You can go to a New Year's Day game, New Year's Eve game if you want, whatever you want. Just go to SeatGeek and use that code, and they'll hook you up. Rapid fire before we get out of here. Quick one today here. Again, without Taylor, we're going to go every single game the rest of the way. I'm going to say who's where, the spread, what side I like, and what I like for the over-under. Here we go. Panthers at Jaguars. Jaguars minus 5.5 point favorites. 37.5 is the total. I like the Jags at home minus 5.5, and I think that total goes over 37.5. I know the Carolina offense isn't great, but I still think that's way too low of a number. Cardinals at Eagles. Eagles 11.5 point favorites according to FanDuel. The total is 48. I like the Eagles. I know I just said that 14 points is a lot, but 11.5 is not as much. So Philly needs to get themselves going. Arizona might be without Kyler Murray, so I'm going to take Eagles to cover. Laying the points at 11.5, and the total goes under 48. Feels a little too high with question marks at quarterback in Arizona. Let's go Saints at Bucks. Bucks minus 2.5. Over under is 42.5. I love Tampa here. Love Baker Mayfield, what they're doing. Taking the Bucks minus 2.5, and the total is going to go over 42.5 because I wonder if reports I think Baker can score them. Steelers at Seahawks. Sunday afternoon, 4:05 kick. Seahawks minus 3.5 hosting the Steelers. Over under is 41.5. Easy one for me. Seattle minus the points. I know Pittsburgh got themselves going last week with Mason Rudolph under center, but I still like Seattle. They're fighting. They need the wins. 3.5. I don't care if it's Drew Lock. I don't care if it's Geno Smith. I think Seattle wins this one, and I think they win it going away. I'm taking them with the points, and I like over 41.5 in that one. Two more. Bengals at Chiefs. Chiefs minus 6.5. Love the Chiefs there automatically. They need it. They're going to roll. Bengals stunk last week against Pittsburgh. I'm taking the Chiefs, and I like the over 43.5. And one more before we get y'all out of here. It's the Jarrett Stidham Show in Denver as they welcome the Los Angeles Chargers to Mile High Stadium. Stidham and the Broncos are 3.5 point favorites, and the total is 36.5 against the LA Chargers and Easton Stick. I like the over. Points are going to be scored. It's going to get funky, over 36.5. And I'm going to go with our friend Jarrett Stidham to cover the spread, minus 3.5 in his first start this season. So that's the games. That's the picks. Thanks for tuning in. Make sure you go to FanDuel.com/Boston and you get $150 in bonus bets when you place a winning $5 moneyline bet. You can check out all of our gambling content, written content online at CLNSmedia.com as well. All of that is powered by our friends at FanDuel. Week 17 here. We got one more in us, week 18, and then we we're not going to call it. We're going to go into the postseason with this. So make sure you keep tuning in, rate, review, subscribe to Patriots Press Pass on YouTube and wherever you get your podcast as well. And until next week, happy betting. Good luck with everything. Bet responsibly, and we'll see you next time.